Welcome to An Icon, where confidence meets creative power. I'm here to help you step into the woman you know you're meant to be, visually, energetically, creatively, and in business. This show is for the woman who's done playing small, done hiding behind safe visuals, done shrinking her identity to fit into spaces she's already outgrown. An Icon is about becoming undeniable through your presence, through your style, through your story, through the way you show up in your business. Because your next level isn't just about strategy, it's about identity. It's about becoming the woman your business has been waiting for, the woman who is seen, remembered, and paid accordingly. So if you're ready to elevate how you show up, refine your visual identity, and build a brand that feels powerful and aligned with who you really are, you're in the right place. Let's build your icon era. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of An Icon. I'm so excited about our guest today. I want to talk about the fact that if you scroll Instagram for 5 minutes, you'll see the same colors, the same fonts, the same poses, the same luxury aesthetic repeated over and over again. But the brands that truly stand out, they don't look like everyone else. They have personality, they have a point of view, they make you feel something. Today's guest is someone who has made it her mission to kill vanilla branding. Shani Timms is a brand creator and founder of Done in a Day Method. She's created nearly 300 completely unique brands for businesses around the world, turning what's inside someone's brain into colors, fonts, logos, and a brand they actually feel like them. In this conversation, we're going to dive into why so many women are hiding behind safe branding, the biggest mistakes she sees businesses making, how to create a visual identity that's unforgettable, and how she built her biggest year in business while only working 2 days a week. This episode is going to challenge the way you think about branding, creativity, and what it really means to be seen. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. That was the most beautiful introduction. And yeah, I was getting all the butterflies as you were saying what we're going to speak on, because this stuff just like jacks me up so much. So thank you, Camry, for having me.
So excited. I love having a fellow creative on the podcast, and I do get a lot of creatives on here because we need to be heard a lot more, in my opinion. And, we're the ones kind of working behind the scenes a lot in the big brands, and people that you see, like, we're the brains behind a lot of what you're seeing. So I'm very excited to have you. And before we get into the branding side of it, I do love to ask all of my guests who they were when they were little. Like, who was little Shani? What did she love? What were you interested in? What were the things that lit you up?
Well, that is actually such a cute question. It kind of got me emotional because I feel like I haven't thought about that for so long. I would be with my grandma like all the time, and she was so creative. So she taught me to sew, she taught me to cook. So much now of what I do and what I love, she taught me everything. So she taught me how to cook intuitively and like get creative. And we have a lot of artists in my family. So like that sort of lineage feels really strong for me. But now it's like I'm creating like digital art, and I'm not great with pens and paper and drawing, but I'm great at creating digital art. And I love interiors. Like when I was so young, I was drawing floor plans and sketching up architectural drawings and stuff. And I did spend a stint of my career in architecture and interior design. So it's funny that everything that I loved growing up actually has fed into everything that I do today. And, my sister and I would spend 8 hours in the garden and mixing mud pies, and we would make our own cooking show. And it's so funny because I love to cook now and I love to entertain and host. Yeah, I think that was all clues into what I'm here to do today and like my magic to share with the world.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question, because I am such a firm believer in like the talents and the gifts that we were given often were there from the time we were really little. And I think about the same thing, like who was little Camry, and the things that I loved, it does come to fruition as adults. I would love for you to share your journey into how you got into the branding side of creative work.
Okay, it's a roller coaster. Are you ready?
Yes, tell us.
I always laugh when I talk about my career because I'm a 3-5 in human design. So if anyone doesn't know human design, it's I'm not going to go into what it is, but I'm a 3-5, and It's pretty much like I get in the messiness of it all. So I'm life experimenter. I'm not here to do one thing. I do something, I learn, and I gain experience, and I jump onto the next thing. So that has really been prevalent in my whole career. So I studied graphic design and interiors at uni, then actually went into working for one of Melbourne's top architectural and interior design firms when I was like 21. I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to open, AutoCAD. But I just learned everything as I go. And I think that's something that I've always done, is I just go all in and I just learn everything I can. So I was in that for about 3 years. And during that time, I got really sick because I was overworking. So I had really bad gut issues, skin issues, and I started to cook really healthy for myself. And I started to make all these delicious meals. That kind of snowballed onto creating my first recipe book, and then also creating a food blog, which then snowballed into a Whole Foods meal delivery service in Melbourne, which then snowballed into a Whole Foods catering company in Melbourne, which then snowballed into, I created an a first to market gelatin gut gummy business. So me and my friend Georgie, we started that back in Melbourne. We ended up selling that a couple years later. And then after some, I call it my adult gap year, when I was like 28, I moved to Byron Bay and I worked at a local cafe where I met my now husband, Blake, husband in 2 months.
Yeah.
But I had an adult gap year and I was like, what do I actually want to do? I'm also a projector in human design, so I have to wait for the invitations to come through.
So am I.
Oh,
my
there you
gosh.
go. There you go. So I really had to wait for that invitation and not force this next business. What ended up happening is Blake, my soon-to-be hubby-to-be, he was like, I want you to do my website and my branding. And I was like, no, I don't want to do any of that. And anyway, I did his, and then the next minute, someone asked me to do their branding and website, and then it just kind of again snowballed. And this business that I've been in for the past 5 or 6 years, it's just grown and evolved as I've grown and evolved. And now, I'm focusing just on branding. So I call myself the brand creator. My little tagline is, I take what's in your brain and turn it into a brand. I work super intuitively. Sometimes clients will be like, hey, I didn't even tell you to do this. Why did you include that? And it's just something that just flows through me, and it's my pure source and my connection to my intuition when I'm designing and creating. And then I've also just launched, as you said, the Done in a Day. So just teaching other women how to, especially creatives,
Yes.
we go through so much admin and this and that and revisions and back and forth, and it just drains our creativity. So I'm teaching creatives how to condense their offer into a day to make more money, have more time freedom, and just love what they do so much more.
So good. And we are going to talk more about that very soon. And I'm so intrigued as well because as a fellow creative, I'm like, oh, how does she do this? I love that we're both projectors in human design. And I
Yes.
think that, so we had a human design expert on the podcast a few weeks ago, Dell, who was just amazing. And she's also a projector. So obviously I have like a thing for projectors. I think we can kind of like sense each other. But I think that we really lean towards creative industries and really working with intuition. So I think that's so spot on. And I love that you shared that because I think it's really cool. And I love the journey, like to listen to where you started to where you are now, that snowball effect, and then the ability to pivot and change and do things that really we just end up finding our calling through all of it. And I think that it's such a cool journey to share because I don't find there's one entrepreneur in the world who hasn't pivoted 500 times until they found the thing, right? So I want to touch on branding because that's your expertise. My first question for you is, what does strong branding actually do for a business psychologically?
Branding and visuals speak to you, and it makes you feel something. So like you could have the exact same word written in 2 different fonts and it's going to make you feel 2 different ways. Most of the time you actually don't know what's going on on a psychological level, but you might feel really drawn to a certain font or design, but you might feel really repelled. A lot of people just slap a font on or slap a color on, but they don't actually think about how is that actually, what is that actually saying without me saying anything at all. My grandma would always wear this signature font. It was called like Beautiful by Giorgio Armani or something like that.
Yeah.
And I would like get home from grandma's and I would like smell my, blazer when I came home from school and I'd be like, oh my God, I smell grandma.
Mm.
And it was just like this, it was one scent in like the whole thing. And it was like every time I would smell that, I would get taken back to her. And like this is what your branding is doing out in the world. It's like they might see a color and then like straight away, if I see red now, I'm like, oh, Camry's branding. It might be green and then it might take people to my branding. So it's like our branding is out in the world, like being that essence that's kind of just like drifting out and kind of doing its thing and working its magic without us actually having to be there. So, yeah, I don't know if you've ever like walked past a person in the shopping center and you're like, whoa, that smell is like so intense. It's like that's kind of what we want our branding to be doing out in the world.
I mean, I've got a few like bags. If you're watching
Yeah.
on YouTube, you can see like some bags back here that have some branding on it, and it's kind of blurred out, but like you would know what those are based off of the colors, right? And the fonts
100%.
and stuff. Like most people don't realize how much your brain becomes conditioned to especially big brands, certain colors, the way that it makes you feel. And I'm totally on board with those things. And I have a personal styling background, and I used to teach people like what you wear affects how you feel, and it projects a certain authority when you wear certain clothes. And I take that into what I do with my clients as well. But there's so much psychology behind color and the
Totally.
theory and all that sort of stuff. So it's very cool.
And you see like brands like, Cadbury, like obviously use purple because it's like luxury and it's like related to food, and Coca-Cola, like, there's such a science, as you said, and color psychology behind different colors that we're actually using. But yeah, and it's so funny. Like I said something today on Instagram on a reel, and it's, I have so many clients be like, well, do I just pick this color because it's kind of trending? And I'm like, well, no, because you're not just a trend that's going to be over and done in like a week. Like we want this color to really make sense to you, your brand and your business, and not just be like a random color that we like slap on. And same with fonts, same with visuals, like everything tells a story.
Yeah, it really does. So, when someone has a really weak visual identity, how do you find that can hold a business or a brand or a founder? How does that hold them back even if they're like super talented?
Do you know what? It's such a creative block when you don't have a brand that suits your like vibe and your essence. I have had so many clients who I just finished doing their brand and they say to me, they're like, oh my God, content is coming out of me like lava because finally I've got, it could even just be as simple as having templates that they can then, put their content in and post. Most of the time I say it's actually not a business problem, it's a brand problem, and it's a branding problem. Either you don't have templates to match your style and vibe, so it's actually you're holding back on showing up online. And I've had so many clients like wait months and months and months and be like, oh, I'd sit on Canva for like 3 hours, and try and figure out a template. And I'm like, I could do that for you in 5 minutes. So,
Yeah.
it's like obviously it's costing you time, money, potentially costing you clients if you're not actually like putting your work out there.
Yeah.
But really, it's honestly such a downfall, like just it's holding yourself back so much.
Yeah. When I launched my personal brand at the end of last year and pivoted into the work that I'm doing now, I remember I very consciously was like, the first thing I'm getting done is my
Yeah.
branding. And some people will tell you that it doesn't matter. I actually listened to a podcast the other day and they're like, oh, we haven't really focused on branding. It doesn't matter. And I was like dying inside. I was like, I don't agree with that at all. And
Mm-mm.
everyone has their own journey, right? But I remember so consciously being like, I want to, number one, if I'm going to launch my personal brand and have people take me seriously,
Mm.
I need to have the brand that backs it up. I want to show up as an authority in my space, and being able to curate something that felt so me, so on brand, to then
Mm.
that filters into like, what do I wear and how do I do
Mm.
my first branding shoot and my videography? Like everything ties together. It's this visual story that's being told. And when you nail that, like to me, that's the foundation of everything that follows afterwards.
It's literally like imagine, going out every day and just being like, I'm not really gonna worry about what I wear. I'm just gonna wear like mismatching jeans and shorts and like, a top that doesn't match or a top that's like 10 years old and my hair's not done and I'm going out every day expecting to try and like win business. That's not going to win business. Like people might say they don't care about appearance, but they do. Like if you see someone, and you just meet them on the street and they're like their hair's not done and they're a bit sloppy and whatever, subconsciously you're judging that in a way. But if you
Totally.
see someone who's like really well put together and like, they might smell really nice and they've got like the clothes all matching, like you're subconsciously you're judging that and thinking like they're really well put together. So it's the exact same on social media, on your brand. And I actually love what you said the other day because I see so many things on Instagram and it's like your grid doesn't matter. And like to an extent, not everyone is looking at your grid every week and wondering like what the vibe is. But it does matter because this is your first impression to your clients most often. And you've got what, 7 to 10 seconds to make a good impression.
Yeah.
If you have a beautiful aesthetic feed, maybe your client doesn't know why it feels good, but good design is kind of invisible in a way, and people like they don't know why it feels good, but it feels good because you've got symmetry, you've got like good hierarchy in your posts, you've got colors, like everything is working, and that just kind of brings a sense of congruence in your body. And I always have to laugh at that. I'm like, most often good design you won't even notice it. Bad design
Totally.
you will freaking
You will
notice it.
totally feel it. And that was
Yeah.
what I was talking about with the grid. If someone lands onto your Instagram, which these days is basically your website. Most people aren't Googling your website and finding you on Google, right? They're landing on your social media page, then finding your website. So it is a landing page. And if it looks messy and chaotic, like you said, subconsciously people maybe aren't going, oh, this looks messy and chaotic, but it doesn't warrant the follow. That they're not going, I really want to follow this person because for some reason this just feels a little bit chaotic. And
Mm.
so I like 100% agree that you have to think about these things when it comes to business. And there's a really big difference between branding that looks good and branding that converts.
Yeah.
What do you find the difference between those two things is?
I think that branding that looks good is it might be beautiful colors, it might just be things that look really nice and pretty. Branding that converts is like it's not just about the colors and the fonts. It's like, why did we choose that color? Why did we choose that font? What's it saying as a whole? So say for example, like when you hit someone's feed, right? And it's not considered, it's not really designed. It might look really beautiful, but it's not telling me anything. It's not guiding me anywhere. Whereas like if you go on my Instagram, not saying it's the most perfect thing, but if you go on my Instagram, I treat it as a website, like just as what we were talking. And it's a website that converts because people, when they hit my page, they know exactly my style. I've got, brand keywords filtered everywhere. I've optimized my bio so people know exactly what I do within 2 seconds of reading what I do. I've used all my pin post as almost like navigation on my website. So it's like, if you want branding, click here. If you want, when I had the podcast, click here. If you want stuff about done in a day, click here. So that's design that converts, is like when we're actually, it's almost like wayfinding on our social media. It's like, what's the journey that we want our clients to take or future clients to take when they hit our feed? Do we want them to click up in post first? Do we want them to read our bio? And there's so much you can do with hierarchy and like, if you're having like really big font, that obviously is going to draw your eye first and your clients are going to go there first. So
Yeah.
beautiful design is just pretty colors and, it might look beautiful and cute, but intentional design is where you're going to convert.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're hitting the nail on the head. You are. And I was just, as you were talking, I was thinking, I'm like, I actually don't even know how I found you, but I think I followed you, gosh. It was probably a few years, maybe about a year ago, 2 years ago. I can't remember, but I literally remember seeing your feed. And I remember being really like, this is beautiful. This is very aesthetic. I don't know why I like this, but I do. I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
very drawn to how well put together everything was, and it was very clear what you did, how you help people. Like it was just so clear that I was like, follow. That's what you want. That's the difference, right? Is to draw people in, make them stay for longer, right? I talk about visual identity as if there was a shop front that was kind of not well lit and it's a bit messy and you had to climb over a fence to get to the front door and it's over weeds overgrown the front door, whatever. It's that's your social media is like it's your shop front, whereas it's like a beautiful shop that smells good and it's well lit and
Yeah.
there's nice music and it's got this ambiance and you want to stop and have a good look and then maybe wander into the store and the shop assistant is well put together and it's that is the experience of your brand. That is the difference. And I think that I feel like for everyone who's listening, like the importance of taking the time to invest, because I understand, we both understand what it's like when you start a business. Like, to invest in branding is a huge step, but it's a non-negotiable in this
100%.
day and age. There's too much competition out there to take those steps.
Yeah. And something to note on that, and I think would be of interest to your listenership, is just make it freaking easy for your clients. Like, spell things out really easy. You know, I've literally worked with clients before, and it's literally like, we literally like work with me posts, you know, about me posts, next steps, like actually spell it out, and you want to kind of like hold their hand through the journey. And we know all of our clients are very smart, intelligent women, but like you actually want to make your content, especially that first thing, for like potentially the quote unquote dumbest person in your audience who doesn't know how to do it, how to sort of navigate it through.
Yeah.
So yeah, make it easy.
Totally. You talk a lot about creating brands from soul energy instead of trends. What does that mean?
So we all know a beautiful Pinterest brand, and you know, I'm sure we've seen all the luxury black and white branding, you know, with the serif fonts, and like it just feels like a copy or paste of everything else out there on the internet. And like for me, I turn off straight away when I see that. Like there's no soul behind it, because it's a copy paste of everybody else. When you create for the soul of the person and the brand, you're connecting to an aliveness that is there and an energy. And this is what I talk about when it's such an intuitive process, because like we'll, you know, if I'm doing your branding, we'll get random ideas and random drop-ins. It could be something so weird, but it's also going to connect with the future audience as well.
Yeah.
So the way that I work, obviously it's intuitive, but it's like we're connecting with the soul of your business, we're connecting with the soul of you, and then creating from that space, instead of just going on and being like, oh, there's a beautiful Pinterest photo, I'm going to just do that.
Let's just replicate it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, look, I use Pinterest 100%, but it's like we might see one image and then mix it with another image and then mix it with another one. So it's like, it's so hard to put into words, because it's such a creative, intuitive process in the day. And it's just so funny, because it's just like sometimes like a random thing will come through and you're like, why did you put that image on your Pinterest board? And they're like, I have no idea why. And then somehow that will sort of weave into the brand. So we're working with something bigger than us to create your brand, which just tells me like this is going to help reach more and more, you know, epic humans out in the world that are potentially your future clients.
Yeah. I love the way that you work, because I feel like that's exactly how I work as a creative with women. And I say to my clients all the time, it's really hard to show you an example because it's in my head. I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I was explaining yesterday to a client about a video shoot for one of her launches coming up, that I had this like crazy idea drop into my brain the other day. And it came literally as I was just like brainstorming. And this idea came to me, and she's like, well, can you like send me some visuals of idea? I go, no, I can't, because it doesn't exist already. And that's the whole point. I'm trying to communicate it verbally to tell her like, this is the idea, but it lives in here in my head. And 99% of the things that I do live in my head as a creative. And that is the talent that we get to tap into and the intuitive energy that we get to tap into. And it's obviously why we're good at what we do, but it can be hard to translate it sometimes, you know?
And like, I've had the clients message before, be like, can you just give me a little mock up of what you think it would look like? And I'm like, nope, because I really feed off the energy of my client on the day. And like, they might say keywords, and like, it's the same as you. It's just like certain things they might say or do that will just kind of like unlock a new, you know, chamber within the design. So yeah, I'm like, no, I can't just do a little mock-up. I have to go all in, you know. It's like saying to a makeup artist, can you just do my lips and I'll just, you know, get an idea
See
of
what
it.
it's gonna look like.
No, I got to do your whole freaking face.
Yes, I love that. I really love that, because it's not everyone works that way. Maybe it's the projectors
It
in us.
must be. It must
Yeah.
be.
Okay, so when you're working with a client, how do you pull someone's essence of out of their brain and turn it into visuals?
It's funny, like I used to overthink my design process so much, like, you know, living in Byron, and I was like, okay, we have to do like a 20-minute drop-in meditation before, and like, I'm going to take you on this visualization journey to meet your brand and business. And really, I don't need that. Like, I tap in straight away, you know, and maybe it's just a me thing. I'm not sure. I'm sure you've got this as well, but it's just, I just need them in front of me, talking to me. I can ask the right questions, and I'm 100% that I'm working with like higher beings in this brand in a day process, because it's like
Yeah.
they just flow through me.
I love that.
I also get my clients to provide playlists that match the vibe of their brand they're creating, because I find if I've got music in my ears that's matching their essence, and then I've got visuals that are matching their essence, like I make a ceremonial cacao, like I drop into the space myself, that just taps me in straight away. But it's been a funny journey, like my creative process, and like learning, oh, I actually don't need all these things.
Trusting it.
Yeah, just trusting it. And like honestly, I rock up to my call 5 minutes, 10 minutes before, look at the document, and I'm like, let's go. Whereas like I would have spent, hours before thinking I've got to meditate and drop in and connect to my guides and do this. And I'm like, I just trust myself as a channel, and I just get into that space, and I honor the container that is the day, and I trust what's going to come through as of the highest good. So
I
yeah,
love it.
so much
Oh my
more
gosh.
simple.
Oh my gosh. But what a gift. Like seriously, what a
yeah.
gift. And I just feel like we're just like so connected. This is kind of crazy. It's so interesting to hear how other people who are in the creative industries also work, because I'm pretty early-ish. Like I've been a personal stylist and I've been in other businesses, but
Yeah.
really actually seeing myself as quote unquote creative and allowing me that permission when I decided to become a creative director. I've wrestled with that like identity piece of like, am I actually good at this? And it's come through the work that I've done and trusting that those intuitive drop-ins, that like these random ideas that come. I'm like, not everyone has that gift, and actually honoring that and knowing that I have that within me, and that's what my clients hire me for. And if we get into human design, like projectors are hired and paid for their ideas, for their leadership, not necessarily by like giving someone a 20-page document. It's like for the uniqueness and the creativeness and the ideas that they have, and like allowing me to have that space. I'm sure that that was the same for you, or you kind of like felt like you have to do it this way, where it's like, no, we actually do it really well this other way. And I'm exactly the same. A client, as I'm talking to a client, I'm like taking notes, I'm asking her questions, she's telling me all about herself. I always ask my clients like who they were when they were younger. All those, it's just like words and moments and little things here and there, that's where I get my creativity from, is in that consultation period. I'm like, get me in front of someone and I can talk to them and all these ideas come to life. So I think that that's what you do with your clients as well.
And I think it is a projected thing, because again, I don't know heaps and heaps about human design, but it's like I think we need to be in each other's, like, what do we call it? Aura is piercing. So it's like we need to pierce their aura to then kind of get that back and forth feedback.
Yeah.
But I also love that we're two projectors probably waiting for the invitation from each other to hang out.
So true. I literally said to one of my
so
friends
funny.
today, because I was supposed to meet up with someone this morning, and just life and a million things came in today. And I said, like, who has time for a social life right now? I'm just like, I just don't have any time to do catch ups, but we will, because
Yes,
we
we
live near
will.
each other. So I love the creativity and your branding and everything, but I would really love to talk to you about what inspired this done in the day method, because I know you're really passionate about it. And as a fellow creative, I'm like, oh my gosh, give me all the details. So let's start with what inspired this to come about.
So it's kind of funny because I think it's two pronged. The first is I love efficiency and I love working to the most efficient standards that I can. So I felt, I was going on these like month-long design processes to do one branding, and it's like I was really, really struggling to stack my clients, because I'm like, well, this project took 2 weeks, but this client really dragged out and it took 2 months, and how can I take on another client? Can I not? Like I felt really stuck in my design process, and I felt like I was wasting so much time, because a client would message me, be like, hey, can you change that color to this? And then I would try it. 3 days later, they would email back being like, no, can you change it back? And I just felt it was so frustrating
Yeah.
and not efficient at all. So that was part one. And then part two, I actually had a project that took me over the fucking edge. Like it was a website client, and it was the most painful project of my life. She actually, ended up taking me to court.
Wow.
It didn't go anywhere, but I delivered a fully finished website, and she kept changing her mind, and she was running out of money. And it was just like, it took what usually takes 2 weeks, it took 3 months. and it drained so much from me. I lost so much money paying my team to do the website only for her to change things. So I really saw this as a huge wake-up call to I never want to do open-ended projects again. It's either brand in a day or website in a week. The energy and frequency of that attracts such a different client. It's not going to attract a tire kicker client who is going to take you for a ride and end up serving you papers to go to court over a fully finished website that, I ended up outlaying thousands of dollars on. So it's two-pronged. One, I knew I could work more efficiently. And two, I was so burnt out by lack of boundaries, really leaky processes in my business that were draining my time and energy. And honestly, that was one of the most stressful periods of my life.
Yeah.
So from that, I always think that there's always a gift in everything, right? So I was like, okay, this is here for me. How is it here for me? And that's when I started to really work to condense time frames. And I just threw it out there. I was like, I'm going to just see if I can do a brand in a day. And what I found is I work so much better when my client is there in front of me and I'm designing live. That might scare the shit out of some designers, but I'm like, every shitty design leads to a good design. So, I'm there trying different colors and they're loving it because they're watching their brand movie unfold in front of their eyes. And I think the thing that clients really love is they're involved in the whole process. They're not, waiting months only to receive logos and then they're like, this isn't anything what I explained or this isn't anything that I briefed. So it really is such a great process for designers because we're protected, working in our zone of genius for a condensed time frame. We're not being drained by revisions. Yeah. But then on the client-facing side, they absolutely love it. I have so many clients message me before we've even begun the day being like, I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with the processes and the systems and the onboarding. I love it. We haven't even started. I'm obsessed. And so clients, they really love it and they really love being involved in the process. I rarely, touch wood, get revisions afterwards because clients are involved in every single part of the day. And what we do is I call it real-time revision. So I'll just send the stuff through. We do it on a WhatsApp chat. I'll send things through once we've done our opening design workshop at the start of the day. And they'll be like, yep, love that, sign that off, change that. So we're not dragging on for weeks. We're on for a day. And I have this funny saying that time is like a fart, right? And your design projects are like a fart. If you've got a day, the fart will fill the day. If you've got a week, the fart will fill a week. If you've got a month, it will fill a month. Totally. Condense your projects if you can. And most creatives, they're fucking geniuses. So I think it's just limiting beliefs that we think we can't do it in a day or we can't do it in a week. And it's been so good for my revenue as well. I didn't realize, that this would be the most supportive business model for me becoming a mama. My little Frankie girl's 14 months now. And it's funny because when I was pregnant, I was trying to come up with how am I going to support myself in postpartum and how am I going to support my family, and we're saving for a wedding and all this sort of stuff. It was just under my nose the whole time. I thought I had to create a course or a program that was going to give me passive income, but diving back into brand in a day, I think I went back to work maybe 4 months after I had Frankie. I started with 1 day and then I went to 2 days, and it's pretty easy to do the maths on how much you can make working 2 days a week. I charge $2.5K per day, and the cool thing about this is it just sells itself. You do one and then they speak to their friend and then their friend books, and so it's just kind of this really cool snowball. So now I have the honor of teaching other creatives how to actually set this up for their business, and I'm a template queen. I've templated everything. So I kind of laugh that I'm handing you your business in a box, and it's everything you need to kind of launch your in a day offer for your business. And I would really challenge every creative, you need to be working smarter, not harder, and you need to be condensing your projects, because that's where our creative energy and flow is everything. That is our currency. If we're drawn out and burnt out, we don't have the main thing that's going to get us business.
Yeah. Gosh, seriously. I'm sitting here just jaw open, oh my, you're a genius. You're literally a genius because, and I'm pretty sure, again, this is why I followed you, because I remember seeing that and it was brand in a day. And I was like, what? Because as someone who has been through the branding process, and I have a beautiful lady who did my branding, and I, was really happy with it, but it was a long period of time, lots of back and forth revisions, and it took a lot of time. So I can see where for the client and for the creative, it's just It is a long time because I do work with clients for months and months because I mean a lot of what I do is like the pre photo shoot production and like finding photographers and locations, and like obviously those things are going to take time, but most of the creative energy drops in within like one day. Like it's all
Yeah.
just happening in real time. So I really love that, and I love that you have utilized this model because we're both moms. I have three children. You've got your little one. Like this was going to be my next question to you is like how do you protect your creativity while running a business and raising a child?
Honestly, systems, boundaries, and like structure within your business is the biggest thing that protects my creativity. And rest. I noticed I was really burnt out the other week, and I just felt now after I've taken some rest, I'm like so back on with my clients, and I can feel my like channel firing even more.
Yeah.
But like if you think about everything that drains in, a creative business, it's like clients who are pushing, revision after revision, and it's like deadlines dragging out, and it's all leaky boundaries within your business that is really draining your creative energy and life force. So with that all tightened up, like I might do 30 minutes of admin in my business, and that's max probably in a week. Like, social media content creation is different, but like admin within my business, that's it. I'm on with a client for a day. I'm not like opening the conversation and having multiple emails from multiple clients, weeks on, months on time. Once the day is closed, like I just spell out like how they use the space. And I think clients really, really love that is like they know how to best utilize the day, and then they know the expectations and standards afterwards. And, touch wood, I really, really, really have clients like messaging me for heaps of things. When I did open-ended projects, oh my God, I would dread opening up my inbox. I would dread an email that was like, just one more thing. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't look at it.
Yeah.
So that has been one, so protective for me and my family, and two, so protective for my creative energy. I feel like I can just show up for my day. I'm fully on with my client, and then, and then I'm done. And
Yeah.
clients love it because they actually like know where to stand. I think a lot of clients sometimes feel a little bit on edge because they're like, oh, can I message? Can I not? Can I email? Can I not? Whereas it's just everything is spelt out so clearly. And that's the
Yeah.
whole, part of what I teach in Done in a Day is like how to protect yourself with boundaries and structure and, onboarding and offboarding. So it's like your brain hasn't got a million tabs open. It's got one tab open for one day, and then it closes the tab and then rests
that.
and then starts that again.
Yeah. And I know we keep touching on human design, but as you're speaking, I'm like, this is so projector coded. This is like perfect for projector energy because we do have to have a lot of rest. And when we're on, and then when we need to shut down, like shut it off. And as you're talking, I'm like, this is also just where I'm at in my business is like, I'm taking on a lot more projects and clients, and it's beautiful and I'm so blessed. But then I'm like, feel so at max capacity. And it's quite draining to my energy, and I can feel that in my body. So you obviously implemented this structure for your business and have nailed it, and you're doing amazing and making tons of income and, in your creative energy. How did you then make the plan to go, okay, I'm going to start teaching this to other creatives? How did that come about?
Fully projector coded as well. I reckon in 2 weeks I had like 3 people message me being like, I love your business model so much. Like, I've actually done this for my own business. And one of them, Greta, she's actually going through Done in a Day again now. But I just said to her, I was like, do you want to come in as like my test client? And I'll take you through the Done in a Day process. And we did an hour call, and she was like, this has completely transformed my business. And then she launched, and then she pretty much got 3 bookings. Like it's, when you have that creative energy freed up, like you have so much more capacity to hold more clients, hold more projects. And yeah, I don't know. I felt like I love what I do. I love Brand in a Day. It is my favorite thing to do. But I knew that I was here for more. And I just sort of felt like, okay, this is helping me sort of like get this to more people.
Yeah.
And I actually love business coaching. I used to do more business coaching and hold masterminds and everything, but now it just feels so much more lasered in, and I feel really like I know this system inside out, back to front. There's like 20 million business coaches out there, but like this is my kind of wheelhouse and my area of expertise, and and I know it gets results. Like I know I can transform a creative's business in probably an hour session, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what gets me really, really jacked up. And like I've been there, I've been so burnt out. I've been stuck at 8K months. I've been, you know, freaking served papers from a client who I fully finished their website from. Like I've experienced all the shitty things in my design business to then be in this season of like overflow and peace and, you know, I'm saying touch wood at all this just in case, but no, I feel so grateful to have gone through all of that shit to then be on this other side where I'm like, the systems do set you free. The systems do allow for so much freedom and allow for more creative energy to come into your life. And honestly, I feel more creative than ever after having a baby and, you know, like working 2 days a week. Like it's awesome.
So good. I'm just in awe of you. And I think that, yeah, you just like saying probably all the things I need to hear because I just want to touch on this really quickly. And we're going to go into some rapid fire questions as well. That would you agree, and because you're obviously working with other creatives and, you know, we're all kind of in each other's worlds, we often work adjacent to each other as well. Would you agree that sometimes creatives limit themselves income-wise because of that capacity or because they're kind of like, well, I can only take on so many clients and I also don't want to overdo it. And like they just kind of almost say, well, I'm just never really going to earn past that income ceiling, right? Like I can only take on this many clients this month and that they're paying me X amount and that's kind of where I'm at, and almost like just being okay with that and be like, oh well that's just what it is. How do you find that that's like what's happening a lot in the creative fields?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, and I know for me personally, I really struggle with that because, you know, some clients take a month and some clients take 2 weeks. So you're hesitant to take on another client because you don't know if that's going to blow you out or, you know, but you also really need to for income, you know, wise as well. And I think that's the beauty about having a done in a day offer because you can charge like, you know, 2.5K for branding isn't overly expensive, but 2.5K for a day is a really good, you know, wage. What would you call it? Like rate to be paid as a designer. Yeah. Instead of like, I would say most designers would be capped out at like 8K, 10K a month. And the cool thing about this business model is like you can turn on days and turn off days as much as you need. Like, you know, if I wanted to, like, I don't know, bring in an extra 10K a month, and it's like I can just add days here and there if I wanted to. So yeah, I do think that like designers, they're probably working so many more hours than they're actually getting paid for, and they're probably not charging enough in the first place, which is biting them in the foot. And like I say that and I laugh because I've been there, you know.
Yeah,
like
we've all been there.
Yeah. I reckon I charged $500 for my first branding when I started my business, and then you just slowly charge more, and now it's like I know exactly how many clients I can take on a month. I know exactly the dates that I can book, and I know how much capacity I have. Like there's no question marks. And that alone takes up so much capacity about, God, I need a client this month, but I've got this due and I've got this due and I'm overdue with this, and think about how much head noise that is taking up. Whereas I'm like, I've got no spots this month. I know exactly the income I've got coming in. Next month, I've got 3 spots. That's, you know, this much revenue to make up. It's just so freaking easy. Yeah.
So true. And I'm just laughing in my head because I had a coffee with a mutual friend of ours and she shot your most recent podcast or photo shoot video, Tiffany Dendell Foster, who was on the podcast a while ago, and I just adore her.
Yeah, she's the best.
We sat down to coffee and she's like, oh, how are you doing? And I was like, good. And she agreed. I was like, how are you? And she's like, got a lot happening and I've got a lot happening. And we both kind of just laughed. It's like in a creative field, it's like all or nothing. Like you feel like sometimes you're so dead, and then all of a sudden you get this flood of work coming in and you say yes to everyone. And I'm kind of in that place right now where I've like said yes to so many things, but then I've said to my husband, I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to have enough time to get all this done. And I'm a parent to 3 kids and we don't have family support around us. And like, so me and my husband are it. Like that it's us. We both run businesses, and sometimes it can get super overwhelming because you're like, I need to say yes to things because that's how I make money. But then sometimes it's hard to find that balance between taking on too much and then feeling like you have nothing at the same time.
Yeah, and it's literally the feast or famine cycle that every designer is probably going through right now, or every creative.
Yeah.
Because it's like you take on so much and then you like reach the point where you're like, fuck, I don't want to take on anything more. Then you come back down and you're like, fuck, I need
There's
money. And
nothing.
then you like go again and then you're like, do. So this just like stops the seesaw effect and that sort of like peak trough. Plus like you've got constant revenue coming in your business. Clients are on payment plans. You're getting money in your business every single week. Like there's no seasons unless you're not getting bookings, but there's no
Yeah.
seasons where you're like, oh God, I really gotta, scrape the barrel here.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, honestly, I don't think there's a creative that I know that this style of doing business wouldn't be applicable for.
Yeah. So good. All right, we're gonna get into our rapid fire
Okay, cool.
questions, but stay along, ladies, after this because Shani's gonna tell us all about how you can find her, the freebie that she has on offer, because I know that you guys, either as a client or someone who has a creative business, is gonna want to work with you after listening to this. So, okay. Some rapid fire questions. The first one is, what is the most overrated branding trend?
Definitely that luxury black white, alpha femme style. Like it's done.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
tired.
She's done. She needs a rebrand. Maybe she can come to me.
You know where to look.
Yeah.
Okay, a big brand that you think absolutely nails their branding. Someone that you love.
I actually have like I feel like I'm not a big brandsy sort of person. That's really I have nothing. I have nothing. Oh my God. I feel like I'm so in the weeds with all the small businesses that I'm not like
Yeah.
I don't follow a lot of big brands. I follow a lot of like personal brands and creators. Yeah, I don't know.
Is
I
there
think
anyone
I
that comes
personally
top of mind in that category?
there's someone, what's her name, Laura something on Instagram, but she does all these like really cool like scrapbooky cut paste like carousels, and I personally find them really really engaging.
A bit of a nerd when it comes to studying bigger brands. And everyone laughs at me because I say it all the time, whether you love
Yeah.
or hate her. I think that Hailey Bieber's brand Road is
Yes, you
just
love. Yeah.
aesthetically really beautiful. Her
Hmm.
imagery is stunning and they nail their like
Yeah.
campaign creative all the time. So I always talk about her. And so there's like a few little ones that I'm like I've got a crush on,
Yes.
like just like aesthetically how they present. So
I feel like because I'm Aquarius, I'm like anti-trend. I'm like so
mhm.
anti-trend that I'm like, I don't want to see anything or know anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to pass.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good. It's probably you kind of have to protect your creative bubble a little
Totally, I
bit and
do.
like not I'm the same, like being really mindful of like over scrolling and over
Hmm.
consuming because as a creative that can really block like the
Yeah.
pathways, I feel. Yeah.
And then like I don't follow other designers or like as
Mhm.
in graphic designers or anything like that. I try to keep my little cone
Yeah.
of protection.
Stay in your bubble.
Yeah.
Yes. What is one thing that every strong brand has to have?
One, like actual branding, like don't
Yeah.
just, put together a random logo and call it a brand. And two, good visuals. Like honestly, your latest like brand content shoot with Tiff was amazing. It just makes such a difference when you've got good photos to work with. Like I use
Yeah.
Rach Chevelle, who's one of my besties,
Yes.
and she just does like the most amazing photos. And I'm like, these are like such a gift to have this and weave it as part of your brand.
Mhm.
So yeah, good branding, good visuals.
Yes, yes, they go hand in hand. They
They do.
absolutely do. And taking it back to like the foundations parts, like getting your branding done so that then your visuals literally that they're married. They're not like on
Yes.
two different planets. Like they've got to be coexisting with each
Mm-hmm.
other. So,
100%.
what's your biggest brand ick? Something that you hate?
I think trends.
Yeah.
What's my big brand? It's just like, when you see the same fonts on Canva over and over again, and it's just like people have just kind of used the same thing over and over again. I feel like it's anything copy or paste where it's like people just haven't actually put any personality into it. And
Yeah.
also, I have to say, when your copy just stinks of AI, like
Mhm.
that is such an ick. I'm like, I can just feel it straight away, and I'm like, it's not this,
It's
it's
killing
this, and
me. It's killing
it's like,
me.
shut up,
Mhm.
delete, unfollow,
AI
goodbye.
is really getting under our creative skin these days. I'm like I've been on a rant about it a lot lately, but it is like, oh my God, it's killing my soul.
But it's
So,
such an opportunity for creators like us and personal brands that are really authentic, really them, a bit messy, a bit chaotic. Like I really don't care if I have spelling mistakes in my post, because I'm like, people then know that I wrote it.
I actually wrote
You
it,
know,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like I actually don't mind if it's a little bit more human-like. I think that's what people are really looking for on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. There's a way to stand out, and it's by
Yeah.
being original. Do you have any controversial branding opinions?
Ooh, controversial. I think it's like find your own unique style. Like just because this branding works for this coach or this personal brand does not mean it's going to work for you.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like the same with fashion, right? It's like just because this style works on this color works on someone, like doesn't mean that you can just copy and paste that outfit and it works for you. And I'm just trying to think anything else controversial. And I think like sometimes people are like, oh, can I have this many colors? I'm like, fuck, yes, you can. Like, bring in the
Yeah.
color, bring in the vibe. People are so fucking bored on Instagram, like, hence why they're on Instagram. So make it a vibe for them. Like, add in, you'll see some of my posts, like, I just go wild on, like, collaging heaps of shit and like putting weird stuff together.
Yes. They're
Because,
so
like,
good. Yeah.
do you know what? They go so viral. Like, I will put one together and I'm like, oh, this is so weird, but whatever. And they just go viral because it's actually like breaking through the sameness and the cookie cutterness of Instagram.
Yeah.
And, like it'll just hit explore feed and I'm getting like all these random follows and saves and everything. So that really to me is a sign that people are looking for something different. And this is your opportunity in your business to do something different.
Yes. Nailed it. Okay, last one. What kind of brands do you think will win in this next era of business?
Ooh, it's similar thread to what we've spoken about, but brands that feel real and personal. Oh God, anyone can create a freaking logo on AI these days. They cannot recreate you, your story, your vibe, your essence, like your unique weirdness. So I don't know. I think we're going to see so many more personal brands bring in like so many different flavors of what they do. And that's something I've been experimenting with for probably the last year now, is I felt before I was so niched down. I'm like, I talk about relationships, I talk about, food, I talk about baby stuff, motherhood, I talk about business, I talk about branding. I think people are wanting a full spectrum experience from the
Yeah.
people they're following on Instagram. They're not just wanting like, 5 tips to this, and like they don't want to be boxed in. They want the expansion of like having a multifaceted brand,
Yeah.
or personal brand that they're following.
Yeah. And as
Yeah.
creatives, we really don't like being boxed into anything. Let's be honest. Like being like you have to stay and do these
No.
content pillars. And I think that there's room for strategy and like,
Hmm.
making sure things feel aligned and all that sort of stuff. But then like when you start to become too boxed in, it feels like I've been there. I've been like,
That's
oh,
so
like this
bad.
box doesn't feel fun anymore. I really want to go to the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. Okay, can you please tell our audience about where they can find you, your freebie offer, and how, if they're a fellow creative, how they can work with you?
You can find me on Insta. That is the best place to start. So it's Shani, SHANI_Tims. I'm sure it'll be linked in the show notes anyway. Brand in a Day is my signature offer. So that is literally a 1-day turnaround branding experience where I take what's in your brain and turn it into a brand. A bit of a tongue twister. And that's so much fun. I do 2 of those a week. So DM me if you want to know any spots coming up. I do have a freebie. It's called Business Blueprint. That's available on my website. So that just takes you through how to find your authentic blueprint in your business. I've also got a 99 brand at bundle on there as well. I've got some random things on my website, so go off. And what's the other thing? Oh, and then Done in a Day. Yeah, I've just done my first round of this. Fire out. It's so much fun, and like honestly, creatives, if you want to transform your business and you don't want to be like bogged down by shitty clients, come find me. Let's chat. I'll be launching probably the next round in late July. So yeah, that's the Done in a Day offer, which
So
is so
good.
fun.
So
But
good.
thank you so much for having me. That was like so fun.
So fun. And before we close out,
Mm.
Shawnee, you are an icon. Thank you for coming and sharing your creative genius and just being so generous with your time. We definitely need to tee up a little coffee date. We
Yes.
are local to each other. So, and thank you for everyone who has listened. Everything will be down in the show notes so that you can find her, hit her up, work with her. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I feel like